Hello everybody, welcome back. So in the last video we talked about this frame debugger. I'm going to close it because we're going to start talking about the profiler standalone process. So now when we click this, we're going to get this message, this one right here. It's just going to say the standalone profiler launches the profiler window in a separate processor from the editor. This means that the process or the performance of the editor does not affect profiling data, and the profiler does not affect the performance of the editor. It takes around 3 to 4 seconds to launch. So I'm just going to click OK. You could also click OK, do not show me this message again on this machine. So depending on what you guys want to do, just going to click OK. And what it's going to pretty much do is open at a different application separate from Unity that will help me profile the game. So a profiler, for those who don't know, is just a way of seeing what is causing your game to run slowly, or what, even causing the game to run quickly. It's a way to see if your game is running slower because of textures you're using. So if the textures are too big, or if it's because of a code that you wrote that is getting updated frequently, or some physics objects, if there's a million physics objects and that it can't handle it. Audio, pretty much everything that goes in the game, you will be able to see what is causing the problem. Okay, so now we have the profiler right here. Now this profiler, like I said, it's a separate application, a separate window, so it shouldn't affect the performance of either it tracking what is going on, or the editor shouldn't affect this. So it's pretty much a better way of profiling. But anyways, you can see up here we got profiler modules, and you could select what you want to see. So if you don't want to see CPU usage, you could unclick it. You could click it. You could also see GPU usage, but you get a warning that says that it might have overhead. So close the graph if you don't need to use it. So we're just gonna close that. So yeah, that's pretty much what the standalone is. So I'm gonna show you guys the other profiler instead. So I'm just gonna close that. Clear this real quick. I'm gonna go to window, and I'm gonna go to the profiler, not the standalone. That's the one that opens the new application to the regular profiler. And I'm gonna bring this down. I'll just put it somewhere right there because I don't know why my computer does this when I have Unity. So now I'm just gonna clear this. So as I was saying, you could select what you want, and then you could also have play mode. So if you want to debug the editor, you could actually debug the editor right here. As you can see, it's debugging the editor. It's running at 200 frames per second. Sometimes it goes to 60, 100, but yeah, that's pretty much if you want to debug the editor. You could also clear it. You could go through the frames right here, frame by frame, or go to the last frame. You could also clear it, clear on play. So if I have this checked, let's say I hit play. Now as you can see, I get information, stuff like that. I unpause it and it's still there, or I stop it and it's still there. And now when I hit play, it's just gonna clear pretty much on play, like I said. So it's gonna start all over. Now if I don't have this, as you can see, I still have this little data right here. If I hit play, it's going to continue without deleting that data that I had previously. Now there's also, like I said, you can move frame by frame. You could go to the last frame. You could go forward frame by frame. There's deep profile, so if you want to investigate like scripts, more deeply. You could also have call stacks for unsafe utility. If you want to have call stacks for job handles, stuff like that. You could also load a binary profile, so load profiling data. You can also save it. This is to open the documents, so it's the same thing as this. It'll take you straight to the documentation. So you can also set colorblind mode. So this is for people that are colorblind. It will change it to adjust to what they can see. There's also show stats for current frames. So that's all these stats right here. So as you can see, there's no stats no more. If I have this checked, I move it around, you can see the little stats. There's also preferences. So if I click preferences, I could go and change the frame count. I could show stats for current frame. I could have this default recording state enabled, or I could have this as edit mode or play mode. So what those are is if I want this enabled every time I closed it, or if I want it disabled, or it also has remember, so it will remember the last thing you did pretty much. And then there is the play mode. So if you wanted to be in the editor mode every time you open the profiler, or you wanted to be in play mode. And you can also open that up here if you go to edit preferences. It's pretty much here under profiler. And then let's see what else. So now let's make this bigger. So if you hover over a window or a tab and you push shift and space, it will just make it bigger. So now let's check this out. Now this is the CPU usage, rendering, memory, all that stuff. You know what, let's hit play and populate that data a little more. So let it completely run through. Pause it right about there. So now you can see all the little information. You could also uncheck these. So if you don't want to see the rendering, if you don't want to see scripts, all that, but it shows you everything that your CPU usage is. So right now, as you can see, my rendering is pretty bad. So as the rendering, I could go over here and I could check time. This is how usually I would do it. Do this, and then after I'll check garbage collection allocation to see what is causing the problem. But first I'll go under time, and I'll have it under hierarchy first, and then there's player loop, and then I can see all these things right here. So I would go one by one, seeing what was causing the problem. And I can see right here, reflection probes. The update is taking 5 seconds. So what I could do is I'll just, clear this and make this window smaller. And I'll go to reflection probe, and I see that refresh mode is every frame. So I'll just have it on awake. That would probably help my performance. So now if I hit play, we could see we're hitting less than 15 FPS at times. So now let's hit play, and looks like it's still hitting. Let me put clear on play, hit play one more time. Now we can see that it's hitting like 60 frames per second. There is times that it does hit 15, but then like on those times you could go over here, you could check what's going on. So the camera rendering, drawing, the opaque, so shadows. So it looks like the shadows are affecting it. So stuff like that, you would just check it out, see what's going on, and that's what you would do. You would profile it. Let me make this bigger. You could also see right here, there's batch count, triangle count, so you can see all that. You could also see it down here, so triangle count, vertex count, batches, all that. There's memory, so you can see what is wasting more memory. Right here you can see 0.97 gigabytes on the texture. Audio, I don't have no audio, but it's taking some memory. Video, there's no video, so there's no memory being taken. You could also see active dynamic, so anything that moves. Active kinematic, which there's none. There's static colliders, which there's 5 of them. You can see the physics 2D. Network messages, so if you have multiplayer messages, if you have multiplayer in general. This is the renderer, so if you have any UI, you could see that. Total CPU, so you can see that it was using a bunch of CPU. Dynamic objects, solve tasks were being used a lot. Input lighting as well. So I would try to, drop all that down, and it would improve this game significantly. And then one more thing to mention up here is you could also, check all this stuff out, see what is going on. So you can see the physics fixed update is also being called a lot. Editor loop, that's just what's happening in the editor, that has nothing to do with the game. So you would just mostly focus on player loop. There's timeline, so you could see everything that was going on, but in like a timeline. You would be able to see the reflection probe being called all the time or whatever. So as you can see, the physics is being called all the time, which is not. Yeah, see the fixed update, physics fixed update is being called. Also the pre-update, new input update. So you could check all that out. And then there's raw hierarchy. This is similar to just the regular hierarchy like this right here, but this one gives you a little more information. So it's a more detailed at times. So just check both of them out. See what helps you profile. You could also check for related data or calls. There's also, if you want to show full scripting method calls. So if I click that and I go to one of these, if I can find one of the ones I have. But yeah, you would pretty much be able to see, as it says right here, the full scripting method name. So if you have a method being called, you would be able to see the full name of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the profiler. Pretty much it for this video. But if you guys have any questions about this profiler, just let me know. You could also go and change what you want right here. If you don't want it to be the main thread, you could also change to be the render thread or asset database or job worker, anything like that. Live, it says this displays the current selected frame while recording play mode. So this will increase the overhead, but I think it's a little more accurate, but yeah, it'll increase the overhead, so it'll probably slow down the editor a bit more. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer anything you guys want about this profiler. I know it's a little confusing, but it does help speed up your game, see where the problem is, stuff like that. So yeah, just let me know if you guys need any help. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned anything new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't and you guys want to continue seeing more videos like this. Also, hit that bell icon if you want to get notified as soon as I post a video. And once again, thank you guys.